that thing in the back of our mind, or sometimes you hear people say that, I wish I would have did things differently back when, or at this point in time, because maybe there were some bad decisions, poor decisions made then that now we are still dealing with the consequences of, right? So that just goes to show you that even though we can make bad decisions, sometimes we don't consult the Lord. And some of these decisions were made before we even met the Lord, right? When we just was ignorant and just doing our own thing, living how we wanted to do. But it just goes to show that in spite of ourselves, God is always merciful and he's always showing grace. Because listen, they could have killed David's family, they could have killed his men's family, but the Bible says that they just carried him away. And we have to give that glory to nobody but God. But this is the thing that we have to think of, just reading this story. God, yes, he showed grace, but these things that are happening are some of the consequences of David's actions. And that's just something to think about, right? To just be real here, just to be transparent here, because sometimes, when we go through different things or when we're down about certain things, we like to say, oh, well, we like to blame others instead of really looking in the mirror and saying, well, how did I play a role in this particular situation? How did I play a role in the thing that I did back in the days when I was saved, before I was saved, or whatever have you, and be honest with ourselves. But there are times, absolutely, when it wasn't on us, right? When it was maybe on somebody else or something that was out of our control. But let's read on. 1 Samuel 30:3 says, so David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captives. Then David and the people that were with him lifted up their voice and wept until they had no more power to weep. I'm sure we've all been there. If you live long enough, something has happened in your life that you just pretty much cried until you couldn't cry anymore. And it says, and David's two wives were taken captives, Ahinoam the Jezreelitess and Abigail the wife of Nabal the Carmelite. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him. Now these are his people, right? These are the people that was with him. These are his men, pretty much family to him. It says, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. And I want to stop right there before I read that next line. It says that they spake of stoning him. Why? Because of the soul of all the people was grieved. And that's something else to think about. Let's say that you're dealing with a situation in your life where, somebody is being real aggressive towards you, or they're being real angry with you, or they, to the point of where they may want to hurt you. And there's never, even though these people soul is that grieved, there's never a point where anybody should be willing to do anything to you physically, whether it's your fault or their fault, right? That's a no. There's no type of excuse on God's green earth for that. But we see here that when people get discouraged, they get grieved, when they get mad at you, they'll pretty much be willing to do anything or say anything. And obviously that's unfortunate because, especially when it's somebody that you felt, loved you, or you felt was family, or you felt was close to you, or you felt, up until this point that, they were with you. They had your best interests at heart. But now, because something didn't go their way, or something happened in their life that they didn't expect, that they may blame you for, or may not blame you for, now they are taking it out on you. And we've already talked about, in this situation with David, he made a bad choice. These were his men and their families and his family, and they're pretty much following along with what David decided to do, and this is the outcome. So they have a right to be upset, but once again, they don't have a right to want to stone him and kill him because of what happened. Because at the end of the day, yes, he told them, let's go down there to this place and stay there because of Saul, but they made the decision also to follow him. So yes, he's a leader. He's going to be held accountable for that. But they also decided to follow after him. So there's some accountability on their end as well. And that's another nugget for us, right? Like, especially those that, you have, pastors, you're a part of churches, when something is being said outside of the word or asking to be done that doesn't line up with the word, yes, they're going to be held accountable for it, but you will also be held accountable too if you follow along with it and this is not what God said to do, or God didn't say do it, but you didn't know because maybe you didn't follow along in the scriptures. Maybe you didn't educate yourself. Maybe you didn't follow behind what they said and just followed along because you feel, they're anointed and they're called by God and they speak well. And it's like, no, there's going to be accountability for everyone.